drink up. Wait for this.
Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs, to Warui Deshou, Stream of Thought, live.
Raw and uncensored. By which you usually mean me. I mean, Doc's the reserved one. He's the polite individual amongst our particular cadre here. Me, I'm just, piss and vinegar usually. Hey, good to see you all.
Okay, yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our episode 5 of a Banana Fish coverage. I am the Subtle Doctor, and to my left, as we sit situated on OBS, is professional fighting game player.
That's a lie.
Guilty Gear. You've quit work. You're only a Guilty Gear player now. Tell your boss. Tell your friends. This is where you unshackle yourself from modern corporate life. Make the announcement. Go.
I'm afraid that I'm actually shackling myself more to corporate life, so I'm doing a small bit of product placement today. Well, not really, but I found this in the supermarket, folks. It is the most appropriate beer for this particular show, and it is, of course, banana bread beer.
I love banana bread beer. It's
fucking amazing.
Best.
Now, I actually looked on the label because a lot of beer tends to be made with fish scales, which of course makes a lot of it accessible for vegetarians. So I was hoping that'd be the case because it's about the closest you'll ever get to an actual banana fish beer. Sadly, that is not so, or at least I can't find anywhere that indicates it on the label. If you happen to know about banana bread beer and if it's got that in it, please feel free to tell me. But for the moment, cheers.
Oi, Gov.
It's actually quite nice, this.
Yeah, and it's tasty. They have it at local fresh markets, and I do enjoy it very much.
I just grabbed it from Tesco because I thought, well, it's either that or, the usual canned IPA bollocks. I thought, you got to have an appropriate beer when you're talking about banana fish.
Oh yes, absolutely. And you made me very jealous. Heretofore, I've been the prop comic, what with forks and stress balls. And here you are bringing in... Well, and then you actually did it with the whiteboard first. So now I feel like I have to up the ante even more and bring in my own beverage.
To be fair, don't be falling too hard in my footsteps. It's just making me look like a raging alcoholic to all of our audience here, I mean, it is only Monday after all, but I've had this in the fridge since over the week, and I thought, you know what? Sod it. So, there we go. But anyway, Banana Fish, episode 5. Well,
Indeed. I'm gonna first. Well, before we do the summary of episode 5, which I need because it's been a few days since I've watched it and memory bad. Have small children, so dad brain is real.
What were they actually smashing you over the head with bricks or something, or sticks?
I mean,
Dad, get us something. Dad, get us something. Dad, get us something, and then that's why you've forgotten.
I mean, they might as well be doing that. Let me just put it that way. But the effects on the brain are more indirect than simple head trauma. If only that were the case, rather than a lifetime of slow, methodical torture. Putting holes in the brain. Yes, exactly. But
it's my dad as well, so,
Yes.
Be expected.
Let's, boy, I'm having a hard time unshackling my brain from evolution. By the way, it's weird because, I was in Banana Fish Friday, thinking about it, rolling with it, ready to talk about it. Stuff came up and we were not able to. And then for the next 3 days, I just watched fighting games. So,
well, let's talk instead about the Tekken anime while we're at it. Where he actually catches a fucking tomahawk in his mouth. One of the most amazing things ever.
Tekken is such a good anime.
It's life, Doc!
Yes, it's so incredibly good. we need to review it. We need to do a mystery bando theater on Tekken. We've already done Street Fighter Alpha, so.
Oh Jesus, what the crotch shot, the crotch shot.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
man.
Street Crotcher. I think Vergilia called it.
something like that. But it's either going to be the Tomahawk scene or the amazing English dub where Lee declares in the most restrained manner possible, "I'll never give it up," and by which I mean like it's the most ham thing ever. Like there was so much ham in there. Like the if you actually bought the DVD of that anime, it would be made of bacon. That's how much ham is in that.
That's good.
It's just ridiculous. You'll have to listen to the clip someday. But yes, let's talk about Banana Fish episode 5. This is called From Death to... sorry. It's called from, it's called not being able to actually pronounce the title properly. There you go.
May I do the Twitter polls from last week?
Oh, yes, of course.
To close the loop on episode 4.
Twitter poll.
Let's talk about the Twitter polls. So, 3 polls last week, and if you want to answer future polls, please go to twitter.com/Warui Deshou, @Warui Deshou on Twitter. Mm-hmm. We will tweet them out after the show and try to retweet them throughout the week if we remember, which we've established we're bad at that. Was the first...
We're probably a bad podcast, to be fair, so,
Yes, but that's why we're a good podcast. Was the first Gwen Stefani solo album good? Shadon disputed this.
I did, very, very certainly.
It came up because of the bananas in Hollaback Girl. So 72% agree with me and say yes. It's good. Scientific data shows that you're in the wrong. So I hope that you learn from this and you move on from your bad opinion. Keep sinking further and further out of the camera shot.
I couldn't do any further for fear of actually causing my chair to snap then, or just severely injuring myself. I didn't also want to spill this either, so another time, folks. I'll do one of those going down behind the couch things that we mentioned previously.
The Austin Powers spoofs. Now here's an elevator. No, that's bad. Are you surprised that they (2) dies in episode 5? This was close. 55% say yes.
I wonder if that maybe because of what happened, with poor old Skip, that maybe people are more primed now. It's like when you watch the first season of Game of Thrones. Like at that point, everyone's got life expectancy measured in minutes. You're being generous.
It's true.
So,
yeah,
on that
this anime will condition you. So, final poll: did the rats, given the drug, kill each other, as was shown in the picture, or commit suicide, as was said in the text? 61% said that they just killed each other.
I feel like we need to start drawing battle lines along these particular Twitter polls and have a running
Megalorian
of ones that I am right.
Why?
Ones where you're wrong.
Why are you disputing the Gwen Stefani thing? What is?
Because he's got good taste. Or they, rather. I apologize for presuming, but because they've got good taste. There you go.
Let's move on.
Okay. So now let me try and actually properly pronounce the title of this episode without slurring it. It's From Death to Morning, which is usually how I describe my state of mind between the hours of 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. when I'm out on the lash, Pretty much how it goes with me. But the actual episode is, prison's over. Prison's done. It's quitting time. Clocking out. Ash is on the way.
Prison's over. I love that. That's the greatest phrase ever. It's like school ending for summer.
And he's been given homework for a while.
Come on, Danny Trejo, let's go. Enjoy the summer of our youth.
So yes, Ash is being let out on bail. Conditions being, of course, he doesn't kill anyone or do anything untoward. He's got to be a well-behaved gentleman. And given everything that's happened up until this point, I know already that the exact opposite is what's really going to go down. Like, it's not a question of, when Ash is going to start, plugging people full of lead, but more of a, how long it'll take him to get to that point.
Indeed.
So, and we're already starting off on a good bit with this because AG finds out, and AG just looks like he's just a cat leaping on a sofa when his owner gets home from work. Like, he's so excited. Like, Ash is getting out, woo! And, well...
He's coming over? He's going to spend the night?
Are we going to have a sleepover? What the... That is the scariest thing ever. Jesus Christ. That was like some Slenderman shit there, mate. Fucking hell. But unfortunately, AG is not the only one who learns, of course, of Ash's, getting out of prison. Papa fucking Dino finds out as well.
I mean, of course.
Of course he does. So, now that he's aware, certain things are going to start happening. So, cut back to afterwards, and trying to dredge my memory here. Get a couple of bits, of Max Lee, saying goodbye. They're not the last we'll see of him, actually, as it happens. Like I originally believed at the end of episode 4, this was probably going to be the be-all and end-all of Max's contributions to the show. Not because, I believed he was a useless character, but I think that, sometimes, you have your moment, and then that kind of it is it, especially in an ensemble cast like this. But I was actually mistaken. Max does play a bigger role in this. So, yeah,
I think you might have been right, though, in the beginning, but then the author was like, all right, fuck that one. We named this guy Max Lobo. This cannot be a throwaway character. We gotta push this guy to the sky. Like, keep him in the story.
Like, can you imagine, Max Lobo doing a podcast or doing his own Twitch channel? Max Lobo Let's Plays, something like Thief the Dart Project. I don't know. But,
yes. Thief the Dart Project.
He seems like
the
an
Middle
Age.
Kind of yes. It does seem like a YouTube handle for sure. For sure. Mm-hmm. Verified YouTube partner with YouTube Gaming. Sub now for $4.99 and get, I don't know, pictures of my wife. What do they usually give for this? So I've never subscribed to any. I've never paid to subscribe to a Twitch channel. Like,
usually
what do you
access
get?
To the chat.
The super chat.
Well, you've got to have a quality filter on there, and money is usually one of the most effective quality filters there is, as far as stopping the proletariats from getting in. The dredges of society.
More like the troletariats. Am I right?
I've made this comment before, folks, but there's not enough alcohol in my alcohol. I need to top it up somehow. I don't know if I can put more bananas or more bread in my banana bread beer, but I need to obviously solve this problem as well. Anyway, yes, Ash leaves. Now, Ash says he's got nothing to pack when he leaves, but he is carrying something with him, which is, of course, the knowledge that he knows his brother is dead. But, of course, they don't know, that is to say, Charlie, eBay, AG, they don't know that he knows. They're completely not privy to this. And so Ash, plays with them a little bit by, leading up the question, like, I'd like to see my brother now. And, of course, Charlie, never played poker a day in his fucking life, looks guilty as sin. And they, of course, do discuss it eventually before cutting to them going in the car. And Ash, well, he has already, had his moment of grieving and being emotional, and there will be another one later in this episode. But he starts, faking it in such a way that I thought, oh, come on now. Guys, this kid's street smart. He's pretty sharp. And he says, I think I'm going to throw up. Like, that's the Captain America skit from way back when, like in the 1970s movies when he tried to, Salinger's son. What a tangent that is, actually.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So I learned this from watching Red Letter Media. It turns out there's a Captain America movie which Captain America is played by J.D. Salinger's son. And one of his little things he does in the film is he twice says, I think I'm going to be sick when he's being driven somewhere, gets out, walks down the road, driver follows him, and then he runs back and steals the car. I cannot believe I have just tangentially linked through a 6-degree thing to Salinger's son, to Salinger, to Banana Fish, to the being sick thing. That's genius.
I mean, but they're amazing. So connected, though. They're connected the twice, you know what I mean? Like, the whole, Banana Fish story. Mm-hmm. We know the Salinger connection, and then this fucking show J.D. Salinger's son like does this exact thing. Ash, that's just crazy. That's insane to me.
That's completely unintentional, of course, but it is pretty amazing. So, okay, they do all, of course, get out of the car, and Ash pulls a gun on them and says, "Right, okay, I'm taking the car and I'm heading off," because obviously, he's going to go and kill the fuck out of Dino. Well, what did you expect him to do? He wasn't exactly, going to go and visit, I don't know, local comic shop or something. So, hey, there you go.
Hey, Superman #1 is out. Get on that.
But eBay's not an idiot, and he manages to actually distract Ash long enough for him and Charlie to get the drop on him and try and, restrain him. But, AG decides, okay, I've had my taste of New York thug life. I am going to now, be the wild card in all this. So he gets in the car and drives off.
Like, just walks around there. No one is suspecting that he will make this move. This is, I love this as just totally illogical, impetuous, like foolhardy thing that you can't kind of plan for or script for. Like, I love when these kind of things happen. Like, the story is proceeding in a certain way logically, and then hard left turn because a character believably acts totally irrationally.
Yeah, he makes an incredibly stupid decision.
Yes,
not the last
but it's not like, but it's so different than like the illogic that we like will complain about in an anime. You know what I mean? I feel like it goes against kind of common sense and like safety, but it doesn't feel completely alien to Eiji. It's
an organic. It's
because he's a naive dummy who's in love.
Exactly. So they do drive off, and eventually Ash says, "Pull over." And no, he's not throwing a sickie again this time. He's not going to do that a second time round. But rather, he's actually trying to say to Eiji, "Look, things are going to go south. You shouldn't be here. Just get out and let me go do my thing." And this is when we actually get a bit of backstory.
Yeah,
that's actually a bit later, but the moment we do, of course, also get a cut to Papadino, doing his, normal hobby of pruning.
I love this.
Not pruning people this time as it happens, but he's just actually pruning his flowers. So, oh, you're a campsite, Magloria. Wow. Well, thank you for tuning in from the sticks, wherever you might be. That is much appreciated. But yeah, we'll definitely catch up at some point. We'll have it on the VOD and such. So, hey, hope you enjoy your camping trip. Anyway, so Arthur, being his usual slimy, wormy self, while also not being completely rock stupid, starts actually, pumping Dino for information. Like, what is the banana fish? What's going on here? And Dino actually, in the end, decides to start telling him. And he says, no, banana fish is not a person. It is a drug that will change the world. It's the drug, that we saw earlier. There's your confirmation. So there's that. And Ash and Eiji are actually, traveling through the streets of New York. Eiji, of course, speaking at the top of his voice, like, not really being...
There's just a moment when, a great scene when Dino's trimming his plants. And he's got the clippers. And this very simple sort of thing, but I really enjoyed what it conveyed and how it conveyed these things. Like, when Dino is saying, like, oh, don't worry about Ash. You don't have to chase after him. He'll come to me. He has no friends. Clip. No territories. Clip. No brothers. Clip. Like,
ow, my finger! Oh, I didn't need to do that crap.
That was so good.
Yeah. Well, if you've seen Megalobox recently, you might recall a scene later on involving the mob leader eating fish and particularly poking the eye. Well, without spoiling too much.
Oh.
Yeah. Another fork-related thing. So there's your link.
Boy.
Forks, man. No forks in this episode, surprisingly. I mean, I'm surprised that Ash didn't make a crossbow that shot forks out. I thought they were going to be like his, superpower. But again, wasn't that also one of the talents of one of the mystery men? I don't know.
Yeah, the Blue Raja was the master of cutlery. Who had, always,
In the universe,
he would say things like,
yeah.
well, what's a good, I'm willing to folk give you in case you folk get.
Oh, God.
That sort of stuff.
In the universe of Banana Fish, that particular gentleman is a lethal weapon.
Red eyes, red eyes, red eyes. What a treat. We weren't expecting to see you again, so Spoon. I love Mystery Men so much. Like, so much.
Oh, it's a cracking film. Anyway, so while AG's, mouthing off at the top of his voice, again, he still doesn't quite, understand playing it down, keeping under the radar. Ash, is, again, full-on prowling animal, constantly surveying the area, spots a guy tailing them, and the guy, walks around the corner of this alleyway where Ash is waiting for him, and he's like, gonna stab him, and Ash just kicks the shit out of him. And then, well, it's our favourite gentleman, That's Shorter.
He's back. Shorter. He's back. And he's wearing a shirt straight from Cosmo Kramer's closet from Seinfeld. Incredible. What a guy.
I actually think that one day, if this ever comes out on Blu-ray, I might just rip it off the DVD or the Blu-ray and just edit in the Seinfeld sting every now and again when it cuts between scenes. Like when they're walking up down the alleyway.
Amazing.
I mean, this show is pretty great already, but you could not, go wrong with adding in the Seinfeld sting every now and again.
No, everything's improved by it. It's like it's like adding Jam Project music. It just makes everything better.
You're right. Can't fault it. But okay, so Shorter and Ash, they chat about what they're gonna do next, and they have an amazing bro shake, because when you're that tightly knit in a gang, you've got to have a bro shake.
Of course.
1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato. Well, exactly. It's great. AG, of course, is going to join them for the bride. So what they end up doing is Charlie actually ends up trying to find them through going through Chinatown to the restaurant. Turns out the restaurant where Shorter was, masquerading as Chang, that's actually owned or run by his sister. Can't find him because he's not been home for days, so obviously people are looking out for him.
What a liar, by the way. She's so putting one over on the cops.
To be fair,
I think she's so part of like the in group, like yes, providing like the respectable face for the restaurant.
The front.
Yes,
exactly. So later, after that scene concludes, Shorter, AG, and Ash, they're having a chat again about what happens next, and Ash is saying like, "Why are you still here? Like, you shouldn't be here. You can still get out. It's got nothing to do with you." But AG then does relate the backstory I mentioned before, which actually ties back into his pole vaulting thing. I mean, in a different show, that would have been a one-stop skill. He just kind of brought it out of nowhere, but no, it's actually relevant to the wider plot and also to his characters. So good on the show for establishing that early on, then bringing it back as a point of focus.
Loved this.
But it turns out that AG was an athlete who actually did try to professionally or competitively, pole vault, but in doing so injured himself and injured his leg, and that basically wrote off his career. He had to quit it. He tried to get back into it, but he couldn't. He was too badly injured from it. So he made a promise to himself never to quit again when challenged with something. Now, one might argue...
And then he went to the metaverse with Morgana. Before he was the first social link. No, that's stupid. I enjoyed both injured athletes that I'm referencing.
Well, to be fair, I think Ryuji's more injured in the brain than the leg, to be honest. But well, that is a matter of debate, of course.
How dare you?
But anyway, so that being said, I am of the opinion, of course, that injuring yourself in a sporting accident is one thing, but getting involved in mob warfare is a kind of a step up. I mean, I'm sure that someone could probably put on a whiteboard a progression chart, like putting all the links together of like the various steps it takes to get to that point. But like, I mean, AG's like literally just got the go straight to go card on Monopoly. He's passing everything and getting straight to the good stuff. So he is. However,
we're old though. We're old. We don't remember what it's like to, I guess, feel like you can do whatever you want and whatever you
I
put
mean,
your mind to.
I mean, I
You're
don't know
in
about
there.
you, Doc, or people listening at home or in campsites, wherever you might be, but I certainly also definitely did not end up, getting involved in a gangland war over a, fictional magical drug.
Nope.
So,
Can't say that happened.
Mira's clarified that
Now,
the actual
before I
injury was-
graduated high school, no, I'm kidding.
So Mira has clarified that, thank you for this, that he did indeed actually recover, but it was a mental block. He just couldn't bring himself to try again.
Exactly.
Throw himself into
That's
it.
correct.
So
yeah.
thank you for clarifying that.
He
but
kept
he's-
getting scared at the point, at the point in which he put his pole into the ground, and that's really the hardest thing one of the hardest things I think for athletes, amateur or professional, that get injured, is to fully commit your body to those actions again with all the physical memory and mental memory. By physical memory, just muscle memory and everything, of feeling the pain, and your body remembers that stuff. Everything associated with that stuff, all the last memories are of terrible pain and getting injured, but you have to do it again and you have to commit, because if you half-ass it, you're just, you won't, at best, you won't be an asset, and at worst, you'll get hurt again. And it's really, it's quite something. For instance, there's a baseball player called, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting his name? He used to play, he was the MVP of the National League last year. He played for the Marlins, and he plays for the Yankees this year. I don't know why I can't think of his name.
I got nothing. I mean, I'm on the wrong side of the pond still about baseball. Sorry.
Yeah. Well,
Just sip my drink.
So he had a really terrible injury where he got a ball thrown in his face that blew up his face, his orbital bone, everything like that, just really messed him up.
Youch.
And he got back from it and was not God damn it, I'm trying to look up this guy's name and I can't. Oh well, you know what? It's just destined to not happen. Someone in chat help me out of it. But anyway, so when he was coming back, he would be in the batter's box and he'd be standing there, and so much stuff would be going on in his head that suddenly he'd just hear the ball in the catcher's mitt. He would not have even seen it, because just
sense. Getting
back in that space, mentally again, and not always having that in the back of your head. I mean, I think it's fairly routine for athletes to come back from injury. We hear about it a lot if you follow professional sports. But I think we don't stop and think kind of everything that's involved with it, all the kind of the sacrifice and commitment that part of it takes. It's really something. But poor Eiji, he was defeated by it and he gave up. Mm-hmm. That's some do. Who's to say I wouldn't? If put in that situation, that's very difficult.
This is fair. So after that, Eiji wakes up and he's being caressed by Ash's gun. No, that's the truth.
It's true. Yep.
Yeah.
Morning,
so
sweetie. Feel this cold gun barrel on your hot face.
He could have just literally just said to him, "Wake up."
I know.
That's the best bit of it. He has to do it this way, just to play with it. But
theatrical.
So yes, they are indeed going to go and kill Dino, and they've got a plan. Dino goes and visits a restaurant. What was it called? Cod? It's called something Cod. Because Cape Cod is mentioned later.
It was Club Cod. Yeah,
Club Cod. Okay.
His club.
Yeah, and it would surprise you.
Giancarlo Stanton is the baseball player. God damn it! Why could I not think of Giancarlo Stanton? I'm
actually surprised.
Carlos Arroyo? That's not it. Carlos Beltran? No, he's a New York Met, or he was. And I don't know why I blanked on that. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking that it was going to be one of those things where you'd remember it in the middle of your sleep and you just wake up bottle up, right? Covered in cold sweat. Oh my God, I can't remember. Can't believe I forgot that. But yes, there is indeed something fishy going on at Club Cod.
Heyo.
I had to do that. Come on, if I hadn't done that, then people would complain. It would be like, you missed a shot. But unfortunately, what is going on is nothing to actually laugh about. There is human trafficking there, specifically of children, selling children. Indeed, one of the people mentioned in the stock photograph that we get is a US senator who's, buying children who are 10 or approximately there. So, great. Fantastic. Banana Fish, what a fun and lovely show that makes you just feel warm and pleasant inside. Great. But Dino goes there every Wednesday on the dot, same time. So, plan is simple. We're going to get a truck. We're going to get some guns. I'm going to be on top of the truck. I'm going to shoot him dead when he goes in the restaurant. Unfortunately, when they actually execute on this plan, before I forget, actually, I should mention that the reason that Ash was, prodding poor AG in the face with this fucking handgun, as if the poor kid isn't shit scared enough of what's about to happen, he's actually giving him it as a means to protect himself. And he's very pragmatic about it. He's like, right, when this kicks off, I'm not going to be able to look after you. You got to do it yourself.
Yeah. He's getting his own gun, his own custom gun from the local Chinese mafia.
It's the beginner's gun, It's an automatic. It's easy to use, Marketed for kids who happen to be coming across the pond, very long distance, just happens to go get caught in gang violence. It's a very niche market, but it is selling well.
Do you think AG remembers how to load the gun?
I don't think. Well, the thing is, he doesn't even manage to fire it in the end. So I think, to him, it's just something that you wave around menacingly, like it's a magic wand, and hopefully people, get the picture. So, but it's a thing to give it to him, but it's also a different step in time for him to actually have to do anything with it, as we'll learn when the actual shit hits the fan. So, in the end, Shorter, AG, and Ash, they make a move on the restaurant. Ash, sees Dino coming out, is like, Dino, and he's going to shoot him dead. But of course, who'd be waiting in the fucking window with a guy acting as a sniper, but everyone's favorite Dio wannabe, fucking Arthur.
God damn it,
what
Arthur.
I had to say, by the way, I had a good chuckle because I imagined a deleted scene equivalent of this, which is that, Arthur and his goons would be there looking out the window, and it would just gradually fade from day to sunset to night. And I'm like, are we on the right street, boss? Oh, shit. And I just hear a gunshot coming up the barrel. Oh, fuck. I checked my map right. I read it upside down. But no.
There's like a quote earlier in the show where Arthur's talking to Dio when he's like trying to, be like.
Arthur's talking to Dio?
Dio. Papa. Dino. Papa Dino.
Yes, Lord Dio, I will kill Joe Stroh for you.
I just need to cosplay as you for an entire anime. And he's like, you can trust me. I'm reliable. Like, let me be part of your inner circle. Tell me what's going on. Who's this banana fish guy? And, Papa asks him, like, why do you hate Ash, or why do you want to go after Ash? And then he just lays out this quote that I think is a cool quote. It just struck me as very different than the way, like, he normally kind of talks. Like, it just didn't sound like his voice. He said, "A great man can brook no rival."
Yeah.
So I don't know the genesis of that quote. I tried to look it up and couldn't find it, but I was like, he's stealing that from somewhere.
You read it on the bar mat, clearly.
Yes. Totally.
It was either on the bar mat or the back of a cigarette pack.
Exactly. Yes. So, fortune cookie stuff. No, it's not. It's not actually that bad. It's it's somewhat interesting. It just sounded literary, and I know the writers of this show have a thing for 20th century lit. Anyway,
they know.
Max is out of jail, by the way.
Yep, Max has left jail. He's
gone underground.
Well, he's very much overgrounded later on in this particular scene.
That's right.
Yes, Ash is indeed shot. He manages to hit Dino, but Dino's not fatally wounded. So obviously, things go completely south. I've gone full Scorsese on this gun battle in the street.
Yep.
The guys crash the truck in doing so, and AG is confronted by a guy with a knife, and he aims the gun at him, but he can't bring himself to it. So we have this nice cutaway shot where we see the gun show off, like, oh shit, did he fucking do it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you kill him? No, it was Shorter. Shorter just took the gun from him.
Oh,
Well,
that's
kinda
shorter, murdering people by having them
oh.
bleed out in the stomach. Also,
but
the look on that guy's face when he realized that Eiji couldn't fire the gun. Whew. Oh, menacing stuff.
I got away with it today. Finally, I will be able to stab someone with this knife. Oh shit!
No.
No, it was
After all these years bringing a knife to a gunfight, it was finally gonna pay off. I was finally gonna win and disprove the old proverb. But no, shorter ruins it for everyone.
Well, that's that myth busted. So there you go. Max does indeed intervene, and as you know, Dino's various goons like start getting in on close on him. They say, right, gotta jump in the river. So they do, and they make it over to a different side of the riverside where the warehouses are. And Arthur has a reasonable idea where they are, so he's gonna go find them, but we're not going to see any resolution on that in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be next time, I suspect. But in the end, when they do actually finally get over to the other side, Ash is like, nope, I'm leaving. I'm going to go get stuff done. And Max, like, finally, having said, right, I've had enough of this shit. I'm not in prison anymore, so I can't be punished for it. Just completely, utterly knocks him the fuck out. And carries him over his shoulder. Eiji's out cold as well. And so all of them, that would be Charlie, Max, Shorter, Ash and Eiji, end up at Max's hideout, which is, like, he's a fucking journalist. Why is he Batman? Why is this Batman level shit going on? This is some Green Arrow level stuff, honestly. Like, but when they arrive there at the hideout, Ash wakes up. He's been patched up. By the way, Dino has also survived, and Dino's basically said, right, I want him back alive. I don't care if you take off his arms, his legs, or his arms and legs simultaneously.
Didn't he say you could scoop out his eyes? Which, just that phrase in English just makes me shudder.
Why is this scoop for, sir? It isn't for vanilla or mint, I'll tell you that. It's for something squishy and juicy, but it's not for that.
Stop. Stop.
Sorry. But yeah, they end up getting back to Max's hideout. Ash checks in on Eiji very briefly and then heading to the rooftop where it's sundown, and he weeps for his brother as the episode closes out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it for the moment. Again, like, bit of a more subdued kind of ending this time rather than, oh shit, Eiji's literally about to get, molested by Mr. Dio wannabe Arthur. But that's it. That's the episode in a nutshell. Wasting no time in, there is careful preparation, but there's no, long game for Ash, in dealing with Papadino. He's like, no, I'm just going to go and shoot the guy. I know where he's going to be. I'll just...
Yeah. Well, they do have the, yes, it was a good effort for trying to take down the most powerful criminal. He actually got to shoot him. If only he'd been a few inches to the right or to the left, whichever direction. And then we do get the setup for next time. Like, this is now, he and Max are going to go home. They're going to travel back to
Cape Cod,
where they grew up. I don't know why that made me laugh.
Well, it's Banana Fish, and we're getting the cod references in against all together.
I always think of that Vampire Weekend song, Walcott. Do you know of it?
Mm-hmm. I don't, I'm afraid. No, okay. Sorry.
It talks about getting out of Cape Cod tonight frequently. And if we were doing a long form podcast where I got to edit in the music, I would use that song for an interstitial. But that will be, how do you feel about that coming up? Because I think this could be a big tonal shift. I mean, already this episode we're kind of I feel like switching to a lower gear kind of. It's still pretty intense, but I feel like we get backstory, some things, some moments, characters get time to breathe, the pace is a little slower. I feel like this could be even more of a downshift as we move away from the violence and the conflict of New York and go to a smaller, quieter place. It could be more reflective I don't know how it's gonna go. What do you think?
Well, the villains aren't stupid, so I think the first thing we have to deal with is the fact that Arthur doesn't know where they are. So we have to deal with him. They can't. I mean, there's going to have to be a way of. We're not going to have like episode 6 start with them literally arriving in Cape Cod and cutting out the interim. Something's going to happen with that. I mean, Arthur's not going to be dealt with probably until much like near the end of the season, I would say.
So you think?
Well, I'm of the opinion so. I think he's firmly established himself as Ash's like rival character in this. He's very clearly he's one of like many villains in the show, but he's certainly the one who's the most physically capable of engaging with him, fighting him dead on, as opposed to being a more ideological, like or emotional or personal level. Like they're the ones who are scrapping. I mean, come on, we've got the fight in the OP, for example, where they're trying to cut each other up with knives. So that will be involved in that, I suspect. But the villains have thus far proved themselves not to be idiots, which is very, very refreshing. I'm very happy with that.
Thank you.
So they could very well end up actually following them to Cape Cod. I mean, to think that they would just let Ash try and leave the city, for example, to go and search out some stuff anywhere, or just even if he was trying to hide, skip town, they'd know where he is and they'd go after him. They won't let him go wandering around. I mean, Dino did just say, like, okay, you've all played the game Operation. I want you to do it to him, but you've got to make sure not to touch the sides, right? You've got to leave him alive. So remove all the unnecessary shit.
Get the buzzer.
Don't get the buzzer. Leave him alive for me. So it will possibly take a slower pace for a bit, but I think that there's always going to be that ever-present tension of, right, they're coming for them. They're never going to let up. They're always on their backs.
I hope so. I hope that there's
we'll see.
the menace lurking in the background, because it's a thing I love about watching this show is the palpable tension that I feel and the looming threat. But then again, I mean, I just I don't know what to expect with this show, but I mean, nothing has happened so far that has been like so insane that will make me expect something like, I don't know, if by the end of episode 7, like Cape Cod is burning to the ground or something crazy like that, I'm not sure that's where we're going.
Well, maybe it'll end up like Cape Fear. Who knows?
We can only hope, I guess. I've never seen Cape Fear. I always saw the box cover, like in my local Blockbuster when I was a tiny child, and I always was like, that looks scary. Those are some scary eyes on the cover of Cape Fear. Do you remember Cape Fear? Like the box cover?
I can't say I do.
Oh, it was... I'm going to look it up right now.
Well, here's another thought. They're going to be in a Cape... Ash and Aegis go fishing. I mean, we've got all the fish stuff happening all the time now. So let's just have them just, like doing some Huckleberry Finn shit, on a river. Because why not? I mean, we're going to get all the literary references in here. Going on a raft downstream. Who knows? It could happen.
All right. Are you ready to just Google Cape Fear and you'll see? You'll see.
I'll have a look
what I'm talking about. And just imagine yourself that age. I don't know, 5. All right.
So, talking points. Let's go over those. Do you want to go first, Doc, or shall I?
I'll go first. And
go on.
I mean, some of it will rehash what I went on about at length earlier. But just the whole thing about Eiji and his kind of injury and how that plays into his character now. But this will be less about how difficult it is for pro athletes and everything. And I think the point I'll make now is just to say that despite, what we are saying or could joke about, like, well, it's quite a different thing to go from pole vaulting to, running with the mob. That is true. I mean, empirically undeniable, but actually, like, it makes a certain amount of sense to me that you have a guy who was defeated psychologically by this injury. He gave up. He ran away from his struggle and retreated from athletics to join eBay .com and become a multi-million to do this journalism gig. And here immediately, like, I don't think much time has passed, so he's involved in another kind of struggle. And here again, he's about to be pulled away from it. He's about to run away from it. And someone is, like, making that choice for him. Mm-hmm. And I think, just he's a person who's in love. He's a person who has a sense of pride, it would seem, and is saying to himself, like, I've given up before. I'm on the other side of that, and I did not like how that made me feel. And I'm not doing that again. I am now... I couldn't forgive myself if I gave up and ran away again. Cut to Shinji saying I mustn't run away over and over again. But yeah, like, I actually find that, implausible though the scenario may be, right, in some respects. Like, I kind of find it relatable, and it's admirable that he... And plus, he's naive and everything to boot, and young, and so he's not really fully considering the consequences. He's like, I'm here, I'm in it, I'm doing this, I can keep doing this.
I haven't been shot yet.
Yeah, he doesn't imagine, how bad it can get.
I played Fortnite. I know I can take a couple hits.
Yes. I've got me GoldenEye 007 training from N64. I know how to strafe. I can just strafe away from the bullets. But yeah, like, I dug that. I really like that. It didn't drag the show down or anything like that for me. And it was cool because it was kind of preceded by the thing that happened before is what I'm trying to say. Proceed? What is English? How do you talk?
You move your mouth and then words sense come out.
Well, I'm doing that right now, but bad things are happening. No, so...
precede, it came before.
Anterior to...
Oh, God.
to that is his sort of...
in a different show, we'd be talking about posterior to...
Right. Yes. The handles. So, just before, like, he has made his irrational swerve, but you get this as a kind of explanation, or at least you're sort of, like, learning about, here's the type of person that would do something like this. And it really, all this entire scene just, I thought, really hit home for me. I mean, it's been a few days. Like, I'd have to rewatch it to look at the delivery of everything and see, like, well, was it the most efficient, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't recall any issues there. But the feelings that conveyed to me and the information about Eiji, like, I appreciated, and I was into it, and I think it was fantastic. Yeah,
I agree. I think that this is going to be one of those pride before the fall things, because pole vaulting, like, as someone who's, barely able to leap a small fence if I try really hard, like, it's a leap of faith thing. Like, you've got to put your weight into it, you've got to put your back into it. But then once you're actually going through it, where you end up landing, if you actually make it over there or not, is out of your hands at that point. This says, I mean, I know, like, you have to bend the pole, like, when you get further up, and then force your legs over and all that. It's not completely out of your control at that point. But like, I think to me, like, the way I see this going for Eiji is that he's completely caught in the or in the wake of Ash. Like, he's falling behind him, he's fascinated by him. I mean, I made that, like, cat thing before, like, where when he first says that he's okay, and he just leaps up out of his chair, like, oh my God, he's all right. Like,
yeah,
I made that point before, but I think that this is going to become a school of hard knocks from at some point, fortunately, because he has, for the most part thus far, dodged injury, and disgrace and humiliation. He's like, he's not actually suffered any really severe consequences. He's kind of gotten away with it, and I don't think that's going to last. I think something is going to happen.
You're just waiting for that moment that Ash or Shorter snaps, and it's like, you're fucking dead weight, kid. You're dragging everybody down. You almost got me killed out there. All that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. So maybe that's not necessarily also something that happens to him, but rather what he does to someone else. Because the thing is, like, one of the key points this episode that was put out there was that although he is, doing all these rebellious things like stealing the car, joining Ash on, his little assassination mission, when he's actually put down to it, when the chips are down, and he's like, right, I gotta shoot this guy. Do it. Can't bring himself to it. He might feel like, that he can do anything because he's been inspired by Ash. And indeed he has done some, excellent feats so far, like the pole vaulting thing. But, when it came down to life or death, or if he didn't shoot him, and if Shaw hadn't been there, he'd have been, turned into a pop-up pirate. So that something is going to be happening further down the line. It's going to be awful to watch. But there's going to be a question again, like, well, I was injured then, and I might not want to continue, but then I'll force myself to do it. And what will his reasons be for doing that? Will it be for Ash? Will it be for himself? Will it be a combination thereof? We'll find out. I was genuinely impressed by it as well. Okay, so let's actually talk about Ash then. So, if there's one thing this show has been doing really well, like since we first been introduced to Ash, is it's been gradually giving those subtle but welcome, windows into him as a regular human being when he's not constantly on guard. Like, okay, that scene with the gun when he's like, playing with Eiji when he's asleep, when he's like poking in the face of it. I really appreciate that action as a kind of mixture of like, his flirtatiousness, like, his, warming attitude towards him, but still being bound in the kind of language and bodily actions, I mean, when I say language, I'm not talking about what he says, but more, the tools and the implements he uses to convey that, gun specific. Like, if he wanted to just be playful with Eiji, he could just poke him in the face like this, like, wake up. But he didn't. He did it with that.
He wants to be tickled first thing in the morning. Not me. Punch.
Very good. I'm very glad he put the safety on, because again, that would have been an awful deleted scene.
Yes.
Why was there a gunshot in that Eiji's room? No reason. None. I swear.
It was just a large rat. That's all. Nothing to see here.
It was just a misfire. But yeah, like, he's still coaching his interactions with Eiji in the language of, the world he's lived in for so long. The world of violence, the world of mob rule, of guns, knives, etc. I mean, yes, he is giving the gun to him, but he didn't need to do it, to actually combine these things together. So when we get these windows where we see him as a regular person, we're still seeing that, mob mentality, that criminal mentality, draping over it every now and again. So we'll have to see if that continues when he, there'll be a time to compartmentalize that. He can't throw away his old life just yet. He needs it to survive. I think that's reasonable to say.
Yeah.
But let's see if that changes. Let's see if he can, bring about some normality. I mean, there's a difference between being normal and normality. Being normal to me is being boring and plain. But normality, the things that we desire, a comfortable place to live, someone we can care about, that's universal. And that's true of everyone, even if I would say, they are like, criminals and whatnot. Like, there's always going to be a little bit of desire just down there, like, deep inside that says, I want to live a normal life. And then there's a scene at the end, which I thought was fucking spectacular. As the sunset comes down, that's the end of this chapter of his life. Like, that's why he speaks about Griffin at that point, because that's the final, the final full stop, the period on the end of the paragraphs of his life with Griffin. He accepts that it's over. Like, he's going to learn more about him later, of course, through the letters and the stuff to find at Cape Cod. Well, that's why the sun comes down. So this is going to be the dark, the darkness is ahead for him. Choosing that particular, phenomena as foreshadowing, as a, an allusion to, things are only going to get worse from here. But, well, there's a corollary to that as well, which is that it's always darkest before dawn, so, but yeah, I really, really appreciate it. I mean, like, again, see, like, also the visual imagery. Yes, Ash is wounded. He's been shot. But he's also wounded emotionally as well, and we see that full force now being bandaged up. Like, he'll heal in time. But he's naked, he's out there, he sees that sun going down, he weeps a little bit when no one there to see him or comfort him. He allows himself moments of humanity sprinkled throughout here and here, and again creates the voice acting. Like when he's talking to Eiji in the car, like, he doesn't take on the same tone he does with other characters. It's a bit soft. Still has a bit of edge to it. It's not completely devoid of the classic, do
it's
not
really
fuck with
good,
me or I'll... yeah, do not fuck with me, or you'll see, what the sequel to the fork is with the spoon. He doesn't do that. But
Fork 2, this time it's a spoon.
No, he's going to advance to the ultimate weapon, the spork.
The spork, right? Yes.
So yeah, I really, really appreciate this character writing here. This is subtle, but it's welcome. I mean, okay, maybe the sunset thing is a bit on the nose, but you know what?
Oh well.
Sometimes but sometimes sometimes being flagrant, sometimes being obvious with your imagery and your metaphors is also welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything needs to be coasting just underneath. Yeah. It can be blatant. So I really appreciate what they're doing with it.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Just write sunsets out of the screenplay? The sun never sets here. It's always day, and it's on the moon. That's the twist. It's really moon gangs. We have to preface everything with moon. The moon drugs, moon gangs.
The sun is the enemy. They have to blow up the sun, to survive the banana fish.
Oh my god! So the delivery of the voice acting for Ash, I thought, yes, I so agree with you. Very, very on point. It is noticeable the softness and tone, like the change there. I think is really cool, and it's not anything major. It's not even that hard, probably, to do, but it adds a lot. I mean, it adds so much, just that extra little bit. One thing, so on something you said right at the beginning, like, isn't it interesting how this career criminal Ash, who spent, almost half his life, sort of being abused, or being, in a gang, leader of a gang, he seems to have a striking grasp of what is normal. That is interesting to me. I mean, I wonder, because he did not get taken until he was 10 or 11 years old, and so I mean, maybe there's stuff from there rooted in his psyche. I don't know, but yeah, or maybe it's just even a kind of a fantasy thing, if only I could escape and be normal, but he doesn't really understand what that means or how to do it.
Yeah, to me, I think that his life has been one of abuse, but it's not been 24 hours a day. He has still had the opportunity to lead and run a gang and learn, street smarts, shooting guns, etc., etc. He has been educated, even if not necessarily formally.
Yeah, that's not normal. But he hasn't led it in kind of a normal, just to think, I don't know, for him to think my life is not only bad but abnormal is interesting. Because who thinks that at age 17? I mean, I guess you'd be thinking I'm not normal.
Very quickly,
I'm not normal. I'm scum. I'm so the trash and angst. But it's a very different kind of thing. He seems to be thinking my mode of living, my entire way of life, something is wrong with it, and I don't know, has this idea. And again, maybe it's maybe it is this fantasy where if only I could go back to my childhood days, or if only I could sort of live this one family we passed in the street, then I feel I'd be happy. But then you could have an interesting scenario. You might have alluded to this earlier, where the tables are turned, and it's Ash who's the naive one, and Eiji's don't you know about how to live a regular lifestyle?
Yeah, exactly.
Here's how you hold down a job, you idiot.
Yeah. Well, I think to me, there are certain fundamental things that you can still have even if you do come from that particular life. Bear in mind, he is still very good friends with Chaucer, and he is, he leads a gang. He's clearly, socially, apt. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. It's just, again, like I said before, the gun is couched, and rooted in the violence or the language rather, of violence and criminality. So he is friends with Shorter, but then the context beyond that changes our understanding of it. But it's still friendship, I would say. So I think that he has an understanding, and I'd be curious to see how this develops. Like I've said before, imagine if he hurts AG in some way, because that's the only thing he's ever known.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever he's had those kind of relations before, which I'd imagine are all entirely forced upon him, what if he forces himself on AJ? Because that's all he's ever known. That would be something I would anticipate might happen. It's going to be awful if it does. The thing is, like I've said before a couple of times on Stream of Thought and in our podcast discussions, sometimes in the pursuit of humanity or learning about humanity or just becoming a regular person in a normal life, you can be allowed to fuck up. Now, that's not necessarily to mean that you should, be able to fuck up so horribly as that, but also you can be in the process of doing so. Like, maybe he gets halfway through doing it. Maybe he pins AG down, AG doesn't want to do anything, but he recognizes, he understands, he sees the facial expression of someone who knows what's about to happen to them, and he stops himself. Maybe, he imagines himself like, in that scenario when Dino had him previously. Who can say? So I don't think it's impossible for him to, be acting the way he is. I just think that, a lot of it, still is very contextualized in this criminal world, in this mob gang mentality. And it'll be something to see, like, if he just gets a moment to do some relatively normal, mundane, everyday shit that we all take for granted, like, going for a drink somewhere, going for a coffee, watching a fucking movie. I don't know. I mean, we all, of course, want to see him do action-related stuff and crime-related stuff, because that's also entertaining.
Do a flip.
Do a flip. What if Ash is actually a professional skater as well, like he does some Tony Hawk stuff?
Ash Links do a flip. Ash Links do a flip.
The Links flip. There you go.
Pretty sure that's got to be a wrestling move.
Quite possibly. Maybe he could be a professional wrestler, who can say? But that's my point, though. Like, I don't think it's impossible that could be the case. I think that it could very well be that he's aware of it. He just can't, have it right now. And in learning how he can have it with AJ, it's going to be something that's going to cause him to stumble and really probably fuck up quite horribly.
Mm-hmm.
But, like I say, when you've come from that environment, when you don't know any different, it's understandable, if not excusable, that you would, do something horrible when you're trying to feel your way around something normal. Like, we'll find out, sure, but I'm intrigued to see how it goes.
Totally.
All right, second talk about me. I want to talk briefly about the animation of all things, because was it just me or did the animation seem a lot more fluid in this episode in certain bits, particularly with the car?
It was good.
I was genuinely impressed with it. Like, again, this show is continuing to do very good things with its animation. Sporadic, very occasional, sometimes even quite rare, like first-person perspective, for example. Like when we have the scene where, Charlie and eBay, eBay leaves the apartment, and then there's a knock. And then Charlie goes to the door, and it goes first person, and you immediately know, because I presume that Charlie has not, been a police officer in anywhere for very long. Like, what was he, handling some fucking bumfuck Arctic research outpost somewhere in Alaska?
Yes.
Like, oh, I called out to eBay, who just left, and he didn't respond. Could it possibly be someone unsavory? It's clearly not the pizza man. God fucking damn it, Charlie. Couldn't honestly. Man could not detect his way out of the fucking game of Cluedo. Jesus Christ.
His senpai will be very sad at his poor detective skills on display. So bad.
I mean, he makes fucking Adachi, who wants to be talking about murders, look competent.
Adachi.
Fucking honestly. Oh man. What a heel turn that'd be if it turns out Charlie is the Adachi of the show. He's just
my god. He's Banana Fish the whole time. It really is a person.
It's a double take. No, well, Banana Fish is two things. There's banana and then there's fish. He's the pusher. Banana, because he's the fish.
You have to put them together to form the ultimate evil power. Yes.
But yeah, just really brief note me on the animation. Like, I again appreciate the show taking its time to do certain, small things here and there. Like, so there was a nice jump cut earlier in the episode. The more fluid moments, with like when we get the bit where AG's like, Ash is out, and he just like springs right up to the foreground. Like, it's quite funny. the show is managing to do really, really well with its animation.
Mm-hmm.
Just occasionally, like, small focus touches here and there, which are really, really welcome.
Agreed. I have always really enjoyed Mappa's animations, like visually, from a design point of view, the ones that are coming to mind, like Garo and Bahamut, and of course Yuri on Ice. And even when people were complaining that certain bits of Yuri on Ice were unfinished, or a lot was left out and touched up on the Blu-ray, that's all so. I mean, that's factual. But even when I was watching the TV broadcast, I didn't notice. I still was like, the show is so pretty. So pretty. Oh,
it is a very, very pretty show, definitely.
It's like the prettiest show. It's just too pretty. Oh my god. That's what I was thinking. That's my brain voice.
Was it thinking that, you guys to say that was in that tone of voice as well, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. It's just too pretty. Too pretty. But this show too, like, yeah, I mean, I thought it looked really, like, nice and smooth. I don't recall any outstanding bits like the beginning at the end of episode 1, which I thought was, like, really spectacular. But, like, this is not a show that I'm, like, thinking about, oh man, they fucked up. I'm not
exactly.
like, look at all these technical errors, but, like, I mean, who knows on Sakuga blog what they're right. I mean, I haven't checked in, but they could be writing an expose on all the flaws in it. But I've never really had an eye for the stuff. Like, my very amateur, untrained gaze looks at Banana Fish and sees, like, this is a very solid production. This is good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure that at some point someone will say, wait a minute, Ash's hair, it went ginger for a nanosecond. But, well,
the Ninja Turtles problem. Did you ever were you a fan of the original cartoon, the 80s Ninja Turtles?
I knew of it.
You never watched it?
Oh, I watched it, but I just never watched it, like, consistently or got really all that into it. It was a fine distraction.
Oh, it was a glorious, a fine distraction. Look, it was a fantastic cartoon, and I was very, very into it from the ages of 3 till now. No, I really liked it. I really liked it as a kid, and I remember I owned a lot of the VHS tapes, and it was my first exposure to, like, color, like, animation correction being a thing, like quality control issues, because, like, you'd have one scene where Leonardo was talking, and of course his bandana and elbow pads and stuff are blue, and that would be normal, but then the camera angle would change, and in that shot it was accidentally, like, orange, which is of course the color of Michelangelo. How could you make such a...
Maybe they just traded them around for a laugh to confuse the others.
Yes.
Who knows? Like,
That exactly. In mid-conversation, they managed to do it.
We need to watch the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like, 2-episode product placement toy anime as well, actually, at some point. That exists.
What?
Yes, it exists. It exists. It exists.
From when is this?
The 1994. It was around the same time. Oh, it's got to be Raphael. It's got to be Raphael was my favorite soul, because he just looked like a stone cold killer. He also had the coolest weapon.
Oh yeah, he was the funny one. Like,
yeah,
he was
all the others felt like they were too tryhards for my taste as a kid.
Yeah. Well, yes, it was an earnest time for cartoons. They were, yes, but Raphael was rude but cool. He got to be the sarcastic one. That's why he got to be the troubled one in the first movie.
Oh, I didn't even watch that.
In the first movie, like... By the way, all the Ninja Turtle movies are bad. Now, let me just point... So, my friends and I went back and rewatched them. 3 has always been bad. 3 is one of those movies I might not even acknowledge it exists if you try to talk to me about it on the street. But 2 was shit, even though I thought it was good. And 1 also not good. But in 1, I remember going to see it as a kid and being, first of all, like, this is not made for me. This is made for teenagers, and I'm a young child. Why are they saying cuss words? And Raph, since he was like the sarcastic one in the cartoon, he got to, like, you know, have a Brooklyn accent. He got to be a tough guy. Like, come on, Leo, Splinter, come on. What's your beef with me? Leo, why we always gotta do what you say? These are my 3 turtle fingers. Ninja Turtles only have 3 fingers. This is how he talks. I'm sorry I've drug us down into this quicksand.
Well, let's dig our way out before, you know, we get sucked away like the Technodrome. But yeah, just continuing to really appreciate the technical fidelity of this show. It's definitely, you know, up there. And also, just again, like, not even is it just good, but it's well applied. That's the thing I should probably put across there before. It's well applied, absolutely.
I'm just putting out a poll about the animation.
I thought you were going to put a poll out of, like, who's the favorite Ninja Turtle, and then, of course, my response would have been the Dark Horse, Casey. He's not a turtle, technically.
You got to take him out of the running, because he'd be everybody's favorite.
That was a badass.
We love Casey Jones. Okay. More talking points.
ネクストポイント
I just want to, once again, shout out the music
Yes.
in this show, because it's incredible. Shinichi Osawa, God, and man, I've listened to his stuff. I've already forgotten the stage name that he goes by. But holy crap. It was really good this episode. There was a really, like, the synth that is playing when Shorter shows up to bail them out, and then they're kind of, the 3 of them are having a discussion in the alleyway. That synth music is unbelievable. It's so good. By the way, side note, like, Shorter, and maybe he's also just a kid. He's like, is he early 20s or is he still a teenager?
Well, he's a master of disguise, though, so who can say how old he genuinely is?
What does he really look like?
I mean, Shorter is like, you know, an enigma. I would want to guess. He could be as older than I am. Who knows? Forever a mystery.
I'm looking at his Mal page, and I'm not, as I scan, seeing an age.
I knew it. They don't know because it's a complete mystery. Because he's, you know, a man of many faces.
He's an unusual, quote-unquote, thug with a deep sense of honor and a drive to always do the right thing. Well, the thing I wanted to point out before that whole bringing up the age thing is just, he seems sort of, like, very accommodating. That age, like, at no point is he like, hey, Ash, what? Why is this person here with us? Like, doing these horrible things.
Yeah, who is this short round here? Is this shrimp here?
I know,
like, you know, this rookie.
I mean, yeah, no objections. That's why I think you and I both sort of half expect him to be the one to drop the hammer on him verbally.
Mm-hmm.
So Mirror says, I don't think his age was ever mentioned in the story. He's older than Ash, but we don't know the exact age. Mondo Grosso, thank you, or Grosso. I don't know how to pronounce that. We'll say Grosso. Thank you, Luther. That's the stage name of Osawa.
The sequel to Porco Rosso, of course.
The Ninja Turtles short series, Mondo Grosso.
Well, does that mean the Shorts has an older brother named Longer? No? Sorry, that was...
Hang on, wait. Stop the show for just a moment. Because you have to get the boo.
Sorry about that, folks. I just had to throw that one
All
out
right,
there.
we can move on.
Oh dear. I don't really have anything else sad. I think it's just,
ポイント
as far as talking about go, it's just again another really solid episode from Banana Fish. Like, it was just bloody brilliant as always. Like, yeah, I don't have anything else really to add right now. It's just excellent.
Yeah, very good. Do you think, where do you think kind of Max, like, where do you think his allegiance lies as far as Aichi? Because, he said for now, basically, that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right?
Oh, do you mean that? Do you mean his allegiance to Ash?
Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
But Max, do you think he will, like, remain, like, a steadfast partner in this endeavor? I mean, yeah.
Well, what was mentioned previously about his family life? If you need a lever to apply pressure, how do you do it? Do it through someone's family.
Oh, shit.
All right. Here's what you're gonna do, Max. You're gonna fucking stab Ash in his sleep, or we kill your kid and we kill your wife. Simple as that. So if there is going to be any shift in allegiance, it's going to be from outside force. I reckon he's a genuinely decent person.
Yeah. Which
But
is
I think-
why I feel like you would think he would at some point try to stop Ash. I don't know.
I think maybe he accepts that, that there's nothing that he can do to convince him. Physically stopping him, he might be able to do it on a case-by-case basis. But Ash has also threatened to flat-out kill him, and it could very well do it. So I think that Max is, being pragmatic in that, he ultimately maybe, can't stop him entirely. But he can at least perhaps try and mitigate it. I mean, that's what he does by knocking him out, after all, at the end of this episode.
I'm just curious, like, yeah, I'm curious if we'll get any twists and turns in that department.
Twisting of the knife, perhaps, definitely.
I think we forgot to mention that From Death to Morning is a Thomas Wolfe.
Again, those in again.
Yeah, as a Thomas Wolfe thing. I think it's the title of a short story collection. I don't think it is the name of an actual story, but please correct me on that if my research is bad.
For sure.
Sometimes the short story collections will be named for a short story, much as album names will be named after a song within it, but just as many times you have short story collections that get their own name based on a theme or whatever that doesn't correspond to the title of the story. I also don't really have anything. I mean, the show continues to be very gripping, totally engrossing. It's really hooked me. Like I'm so interested. I can't really think of something like a major character. Or by major character, I just mean like someone who's not like just been in like a shot. Even like characters that I guess technically are minor characters, right? Like shorter. But like all the characters, I'm interested in seeing what happens to them. I want to have more time with them. Please don't die. I want him more screen time.
It's like I said, we get a Deadpool on.
Man. Who did we say is
Let me get my wallet.
But goodness, it's super fascinating. I mean, I'm as hooked or more, on this story as I was like 91 Days.
Yeah, an excellent point of comparison there.
But also, I mean, there's so much more from the character relationship standpoint in this than that show. There's like all these sort of new wrinkles. There is, gosh, so much like that Angelo never really had in 91. He didn't have kind of an Eiji figure, and that whole element Like, I mean, in a crude, like, I'm going to be very crude and to say, like, the smushing together of Yuri on Ice in 91 days.
Oh boy.
Like, there's so much there that I cannot wait to see unfold, and I cannot wait to follow down whatever trails they go. I mean, at this point, we are nearly a quarter of the way in, and I think I feel pretty confident in the team handling it. I'm not like on pins and needles waiting for them to fuck it up or whatever. And then there's already source material out there that they're following. So yeah. I mean, I'm super into it.
There's just one thing I need to make as a side, actually. I think that this is something that I realise is a trend now in the shows that I tend to like versus the shows I don't. Which is that I understand that anime, always will have like this kind of pressurized, hot, cooker, like, mentality of like making shows, like, tight deadlines, crunch animation, being a really underpaid, awful jobs to do. But at the very least, one of the things I appreciate about adapted works is that the existing material is there in full. We're not making shit up as we go along over the course of 2 seasons or more. We have a framework in place, and it's the question of how we translate that rather than how we complete it. That's, really fascinating to me. And that's why some of my favorite shows are stuff like Welcome to HK was adapted, I believe, from a light novel or a manga.
I think it's
Lustrous.
I think it's, isn't it both?
It could be whichever one was originally the start of that. But then, of course, you have Land of the Lustrous, which I adore immensely, and that is similarly adapted from source. So they have an existing blueprint, and that's why I enjoy these things so much, because they, they know where they're going to end. They were created by people with a definable end game in. So I'm really, really happy to watching something like this where I feel confident that they have done that, because the material was already out. Not to say, of course, by the way, that works that were created entirely for television, that they didn't have an end game defined. It's just that, well, it's easier, and that's fine. Taking the easy way and adapting good quality material rather than having to create your own is a perfectly welcome thing. I'd rather have that be the case, where I get to see stuff like this, given life. And they're already making some nice changes, to the original material to help bring it forward. Oh, we've had an open question here. Well, let's have this then. So Mira asks, what do you guys think will happen in the next episode? Well, I think I mentioned it before. I think that they're going to have to firstly get out of New York in order to go to COD. And I think that that's not going to be easy. I think that Arthur's certainly going to intervene or interdict in some way. There'll probably be some hostility between Ash and Max, because Max did, of course, knock him out. Why are you always getting in my way? We're out, we're no longer locked up together. Why are you here? You don't need to be here with me. You were forced to previously.
Let me just go kill Dino.
Yeah, let me just go fucking
Almost
plug
call
him
him
full of
Diog.
fucking lead,
Yeah.
Give me a fucking AR-15 and I'll make short work of it. And then AG will probably reflect on what nearly happened in the truck, I would say, where he tried, almost end up shooting someone. Like, up until this point, apart from some moments of hesitation here and there, he's generally actually been quite gung-ho about it, which seems contrary to his character. But I think that this particular incident, in which he nearly did end up killing that guy in cold blood, could very well, rein him back in a little bit and make him go back into his shell. And, the response to that will be, okay, maybe Ash will say to him, I shouldn't have put that burn on. I can't protect you, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't force you to do such horrible things to protect yourself. He was with Shorter, after all. Shorter might be to look out for. I mean, admittedly, still be a dead weight there, but this is, a bit much to ask for this kid, to be quite honest. He's not a fucking, street soldier. He's not a member of the Baseball Furies or something. He ain't that. So I think there's going to be some more character interplay there, possibly while I can imagine a thing like they're trying to get out of the warehouse. Arthur's got them pinned down. They're just waiting, for a moment to escape, and that's when they start having these conversations come about, because the tension's forcing them to snap at each other.
Yeah.
Max makes a suggestion, and then Ash goes, I didn't ask for your fucking opinion. I didn't ask you for you fucking be here. I didn't ask you to knock me out when I had a plan. From the moment I met you to this moment now, you have been in my way. And I only tolerated it previously because we were forced to be together, but now that's not the case. So get the fuck out. If you want to, be target practice for Arthur, you can go do that. Can see that happening. So who knows? Maybe we have some sort of stakeout, shootout, standoff kind of thing. The Alamo, I don't fucking know. The Alamo. Yeah.
Are you saying about Eiji that he's got soul, but he's not a soldier?
Is that the second time we've done a killer's reference?
I wanted to get it in just for you. I can't
Can I
wait.
just say how much I hated that lyric, by the way? That made no sense. That lyric from
just
the Killer,
out of the blue.
Just fucking crowbarred into this song, and it's just like
it is crowbarred in.
Bollocks. It's just bollocks. Hello, to Blue Sea.
Just
Thanks for joining us.
Just a thing to say over and over, like, and yes, in the context of the rest of the lyrics, it makes no fucking sense. Why is it there? Catchy as it may be. So Mirror says, to follow up on the question, I'm a bit worried because the anime hasn't finished volume 3. There are only 19 episodes left. I feel like a lot of the latter moments might get cut. So to just go back to the question that you asked previously. So I am interested in a moment coming when Eiji feels like not just that he so right now, of course, he is infatuated, I think, with Ash. He likes him. He may even sort of feel some kind of inklings of caring about him, but he's not like firmly entrenched in his life. I don't think that he thinks that I don't even know if he knows how Ash feels about him, like, or feels like he could have any say over his life. But like, I'm interested to see, like, if Eiji becomes a very important person and they really connect, like, will he ever kind of step out and say, hey, Ash, this thing you've been wanting to do and set your life towards, maybe let's not do that. Because going hell for leather to try to kill Dino, it's probably going to result in you dying. And I don't want that. I mean, we said earlier that Ash feels very self-destructive, like he's on kind of a roller coaster to his own demise in some ways. And Eiji's going to stop
like,
it.
The lynx is out of the cage. So, he's a caged animal set free. Of course he's going to go nuts. In fact, it's actually kind of a slip up on Dino's part now that I think about it. He didn't think, oh, wait a minute. The kid who knows everything about me, is going to be gunning for me now because he probably knows what's going on. But you know what? No, I'll go visit, my usual clubhouse, for, trading kids like the fucking Pokemon cards. Wanker.
Oh, I mean, oh boy. Yeah, we did not even touch on how, like...
we discussed it briefly, but yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, it just...
Actually, there's something I just need to bring up very briefly. Okay. Actually, I'm again making a reference to a show that you hate, but it's just a comparison point to show why this is done better, and it's Phantom. So bear with me on this. No, seriously, right? Seriously. So,
are you going to bring up Limp Bizkit after this?
No, I'm not. I'm instead going to bring up, Papa Roach. Oh, come on, Doc. Don't cut my life into pieces.
God damn it. Why are you doing this?
Bringing this stuff up is my last resort.
It's so bad. It's so fucking bad. God.
Where would you say I fall between angels and insects? This is amazing. This is like repeatedly striking the JRPG boss's weak spot. Great.
I remember
every time I hit one of those, there was the one more sound from Persona 4 coming up.
I remember when that guy lost a bunch of weight between albums, and then for all the music videos for that second album, the Papa Roach guy made sure to wear sleeveless shirts because he's like, hey, look at me. I am skinny now.
Congratulations. Anyway, the point I was going to make was this. So, for those of you who've not watched Phantom Requiem for the Phantom, good, keep it that way. You are living happy, healthy lives. You are, blissful in ignorance. You've not seen what we've seen. But there is a villain in it. The villain's name is Scythe Master because the show has, got no sense of, self-awareness or irony. And he buys a child to serve as his personal assassin. So why am I bringing this up relative to what's going on here? Because the thing is, we get a lot of detailed stuff about what happens with Ayn or Erin, that child, in Phantom. And this is, again, Banana Fish's credit in that it actually, does more harm, makes you feel more disgusted by what's going on by not explicitly stating it. Like, here's a senator, he buys kids. Does he then, go into graphic detail what he does with the kids? No. But as I've said previously, it's leaving it to your imagination.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good thing, because I don't want to explicitly put that anyway, but unfortunately, the human mind and the human imagination, when it's presented with gross, awful, disgusting, heinous bullshit like this, it will imagine the worst thing imaginable. It's like what happened, previously when Ash's, interrogation caused, the Ben cop came in and showed him the pornography of himself. Like, we didn't get to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the point, because it's about us imagining it and the horror of it. So this is another great example of where less is more.
And they've created an environment as such that, in this world with this person running things, it is easy to imagine really, really horrible shit. I mean, it's not a thing that they could just do in every show, and I guess hit the same kind of emotional note. But yeah, I mean, thank you for saying that, because I was looking for a way to express what you just said. Like, it's not like that they showed what happened to the kids or went into great exposition about it, but they had some accompanying imagery, so a little narration about it, and that was like enough to make the blood run cold. I think just imagining that. I mean, that's just a horrifying thing, a reality of our and I really did like that they did not push that too hard.
Yeah, it's the worst kind, essentially, of the Wheel of Fortune complete the word thing. Like, just grim, fucking grim. But yeah, again, less is more. It's very competent.
Sometimes can be too much more.
Yeah, that's it.
But
you and I and everyone else, of course, in the audience here, we're all the products of what we know from our environment, from news we've read, instance, people who we may or may not know personally, but we've seen on the news, such like that. So we can fill in the blanks, and unfortunately, we fill in the blanks with an amalgamation of all the most horrible, heinous shit that we ourselves know of, that we, while of course our experience personally, can kind of piece together, and it's just fucking ghastly. So, no, exactly, Blue Sea. They couldn't do that anyway, of course, because of standards and practices. Nor should they, even if standards and practices do not exist as a legal thing. It's, morally and ethically repugnant to put that kind of material in there. Even if it's, something that's expressed as a negative thing, it's still too much. I mean, I admittedly have seen, unfortunately, the Human Centipede. And yeah, I get the point that the bad guy was, bad in that, and the things that were in it were awful. But no, it was still too fucking much. It was still disgusting, and I hated it.
Yeah, well, so I think what Luther means when he says it's worse when they don't show it is just Blue Sea.
The imagination.
Yeah, just your imagination, and also that it doesn't feel like pornographic. I guess like if it could be worse in terms of an experience for you sitting there watching it, and you're thinking like, oh boy, like what's the motive behind showing this? This feels very tasteless. Da da da. But yeah, like when you move all that out of the picture, and you're, I guess, sort of just thinking about the in-world consequences or the real life analogs. We should change topics. This is very heavy. And we should not talk. Let's not talk about the Human Centipede anymore.
No, not unless in terms of how to destroy it appropriately without polluting your room. But anyway, so yeah, I was quite impressed with that. Otherwise, it's pretty much all I really want to say about the episode. It's just another good continuation.
I never did say what I think will happen the very next episode.
Oh, you did? Sorry. Yes.
Oh, that's okay. So I just I think Max will kill Ash and assume his identity. No, the whole
Of course.
Yes, absolutely. No, I do think it will continue to downshift and be even more reflective. I think we'll see. I suspect backstory. I suspect perhaps a lot of dialogue, conversations, perhaps some outright character conflict. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But as you pointed out, we want to see Ash do cool action stuff. But we also want to see the romance, as I said. So perhaps this will be kind of the occasion for maybe some steps down that road. Perhaps the Eiji and Ash's relationship can move forward away from the gun violence and stuff, where they have a minute to breathe together.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's rate this episode. For me, I am going to give this episode Banana Fish, from Death Till Morning. Still an amazing title.
It is. It's so good. It's the best pun. It's like the uncringy, like cool pun, like the rare good pun.
Mm-hmm. It's the Papa Roach song that never got released.
Motherfucker. Made me pull out an earbud. Please.
It's all going according to plan, folks.
Man.
But anyway.
You're gonna be talking about your favorite Incubus records before they sold out and went pop, when they were still making new metal. Science, the best album. God damn it. I hate that I know all this shit. Please rate the episode.
Yes, I will rate it. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 proved plants. It's... I don't know, it's weird trying to rate the show because, to be honest, even when I've rated it it's 3.5 out of 5, it's still really damn good. I am of the opinion that if it keeps this level of quality or even goes beyond that, it will probably be the 5th 10 out of 10 anime show that I've seen in my entire life so far. Well, sorry, no, that's a lie. No, would be the 5th. Yes, sorry, I'm getting mixed up here. But it would be the 5th. I tend to have quite high standards for this kind of stuff. But thus far, it's just, I don't think it's made a single cock-up apart from possibly some pacing and tonal issues, minor as they are. They're only small. So I am continually very impressed with this. Now, I will admit that, yes, they have source material that they're bringing to this that is quite well acclaimed.
Right.
But we can't obviously ignore the competence of the people actually animating and adapting this. The little touch, something we didn't actually mention that I think we should bring up is that in the original... this is actually relevant to what Blue Sea's just brought there. In the original manga, I learned recently from Dave on Twitter, shout Dave, that it was originally set in Vietnam because, of course, it was in the 80s and Iraq was not a thing back then.
Right.
Now, I actually don't mind the adaptational changes to make it more modern, although I understand that, it's a matter of personal preference here. But someone who's not read the original, I appreciate them doing that. What I actually wish they had done, though, is did they clarify in the very first episode if it was Iraq or Afghanistan?
Oh, boy. I think so. I believe that they had a Chiron or title card or whatever.
I'm trying to remember what it was. I'm just thinking it would make more sense for it to be Afghanistan because, as it happens, Afghanistan is I believe, the world's largest supplier or producer of opium, which, of course, would tie into the drug thing. That's a small minor thing that doesn't matter one way or the other. But I nonetheless appreciate them actually changing up the settings. It feels a lot like, funnily enough, modern Iron Man, where, that was originally set in Vietnam, but they then changed it to, Afghanistan and Iraq. But anyway, yeah, again, another straight hit. Well shot. Can't fault it.
Just responding to chat. Well, I'll just respond verbally. So the modern updated setting, Blue Sea, I hear you. So we talked about this in our earlier episodes, just that some of the storytelling conventions and things that happen in the plot are a clunkier fit when it comes to the queer characters and the coding and possible stereotyping and all that sort of stuff. they are a product of their time, and that sort of stuff has advanced since then, and so the fit may be a little awkward. We've talked about that. I think we've made our peace with it, and we're just like, this is an artifact of the day,
I'm actually okay with it in the way it handles the relationships, because while it is translating it from aces and keeping it, very, subdued on, their sexuality, I think that it's not unreasonable to expect rather that in certain groups, such as criminal groups like this, that if you were, homosexual, that you would want to keep that under the radar. If that wasn't something that you were using as an overt power play, like Dino, like Marvin, like all those other wankers.
Right.
So I think that still exists. I think that, things have gotten better, of course. But at the same time, depending on the environment that you grow up in, there are still pockets of, places and contexts and environments in which you can't openly express your sexuality. I mean, even when Ash leaves the prison in this very episode, the guys are still calling after him. They're still saying, "Come back anytime, baby," that whole stuff.
And that doesn't feel antiquated or anything. I think it's more like the actual relationship between Ash and Eiji, the sort of he never lets anyone touch his gun stuff.
The more subtextual kind of
right.
Almost juvenile kind of humor kind of stuff.
I mean, maybe not even humor, but I think people are just where it goes. And how, I mean, the fact that this is not a boys love manga, straight up, I think it's been talked about by a lot of people on Twitter that it was sort of marketed as shoujo originally because back then boys love is not a thing that could stand on its own. The sort of publishers didn't think so, and so if you wanted to do a story about that, you had to have this other thing to get people to come to the tent, and it was this crime story. So anyway, that's all to say. I think we'll cover that stuff as it comes up. If we think the handling of it is poor or could be done better, that sort. But yeah, I think eyes wide open that this is just a cultural artifact from 30 years ago now. But here's my rating. Is it flipped? No. You can't. It's
right.
Backwards.
No, I can read that.
Okay.
4.25.
4.25 morning pistols.
So what is that? 4 pistols and then the clip, or the safety ramp or whatever.
4 pistols and a bullet.
and the ring hammer. Yeah. Fair enough.
Echoing everything that you said. Fabulous episode. Loved it.
Consistently good.
And so
which is all I ever asked for.
Boys Love is a subgenre of shoujo. Oh boy, this is not even a thing I feel qualified to talk about, especially when it comes to manga. Sex Pistols, right? Because I mean, there are people that consider it its own thing because it's not just for women. Whereas shoujo is not even like a genre; it's like a marketing demo. It's like here we have a shoujo magazine, right? Which is we're gonna put stuff in here we think this age range of this kind of person, these girls, these ladies would enjoy. But I think Boys Love is actually, I want to say it's different, just because it's not just marketed just for ladies, even though ladies are a huge part of the audience there. But I don't know, it's not something that we'd have to have a guest on to really hash that stuff out, that is more kind of fluent in that world. 80s should look 70s and 80s shoujo was lit. It doesn't get any better than fucking Rose of Versailles and was this 80? Was Dear Brother was a 90s anime? Was that based on? But that was based on a manga, right? Anyway.
I'm out of my depth on this stuff, I'm afraid.
Osamu Dezaki shoujo. It does not get any better than that. Melodramatic, people slapping the shit out of each other. It's great. Drugs are involved. It's amazing.
But that being said, put a pin in the idea of, who this show is originally meant to be marketed to and the material for something later that I'm considering as a talking point for a future episode, depending on how things go with AG and Ash. But just keep that in the back of your mind, folks.
For sure. So, well, let's check in again on the
ツイッターポール
Twitter polls. So we've got 2 this week. And one of them is, do you like the movie Mystery Men? Because this got brought up because we were talking about Forks, and then you brought up the Blue Raja, which praise be to you, because the Blue Raja is an incredible character, and it is not the Simpsons voices, but that character, which that guy will forever be known to me. What's his name? Why can't I remember names
Hank
today?
Azaria?
Yes, thank you. Hank Azaria will forever be the Blue Raja to me, rather than voice of all the Simpsons characters. Right now, that's at 100% yes, so our audience is good.
Good, it better stay that way. I'm just warning you all.
And
don't you be making smack talk about Mystery Men.
No, no, because then I had a joke and then it left me because my memory my mind is total garbage. I was gonna do a bit that involved the stress ball, like Ben Stiller would do, like that little sucker just saved your life. That whole, Anyway, our other poll: did the animation in Banana Fish impress you relative to other episodes? That's also at 100% yes, but it's very early days with that. So please be sure to head over to twitter.com/Warui Deshou to vote. And we thank you all for participating so far. And
indeed, thank you all so much for tuning in, as always.
Feel free to suggest polls in chat.
So you're right.
And we'll ignore them mostly, but one or two of them we might use. I think that's going to do it for this week. We've already gone well on past when we usually stop, but that's okay because we got a lot of viewer questions this time, which is nice. We always appreciate those. Mm-hmm. However long people want to talk about Banana Fish, I'm happy to engage in that speculation and discussion.
We'll talk about something good for once, so let's enjoy the time that we
soak it up. So
put it in my skin.
Inject it into my veins, straight up. Needle drop that Banana Fish.
Amazing.
So where can people find you on Twitter if they want to harass you after seeing this VOD?
Well, if you want to find me on Twitter, you need to firstly set sail towards the Northern Star and cover that distance for about 20 leagues. Make a left at the Cape of Norway, and I'm taking piss, of course. You can find me at Shadon1010 on Twitter. I also have a curious cat that's also at Shadon1010. So feel free to ask me about why I'm suddenly bringing up nautical references in this random fucking show. So.
And if you want to hit me up, I am at The Subtle Doctor on Twitter. I've not resurrected my curious cat. I've not performed Life 2 upon it. So in the ground it remains, but perhaps at a later date.
Give it a Phoenix down.
Nope.
Come on, man.
No, I'm hoarding them. I'm very...
What, for the time that you don't get to use on Eris? Oh, she's dead. Do you want to do anything about it? Of course. Don't.
One day I'll find out how to bring her back. You just wait. It's gonna happen. I will discover it. Did they really have that in Game Shark?
Yes, you could apparently Game Shark her back.
Oh, so she could just appear in your party, but the storyline would still play out?
I believe so,
kicking the
it
bucket?
was possible. There were
Sorry,
ways of
spoilers for Final Fantasy VII. Aristos.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, that is our show. Please like this, subscribe, hit the bell, all that stuff. If you like us on YouTube, if you want to follow the podcast, we have a SoundCloud. We're on Apple Podcasts where you can subscribe and get this stuff for your commute, for your times when you do not have access to the YouTube. Also, tweet us or email us, Warui Deshou. The email is at Gmail. If you have any questions or you hate the Ninja Turtles and want to slag us off about even enjoying what is the fucking masterpiece of 80s cartoondom, then by all means come at me.
Don't sideways into that. No. I'm still sore about all the bullshit that happened with She-Ra. Please don't do that. Please.
Oh, man, can you? Let's not even imagine the backlash Netflix makes an insurance. Thanks for joining this week. Thank you all very much. Embrace each other, everyone, to the ends of the universe.
Cowabunga. Oh.